What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me, but I just got home off of an early morning flight, right? First thing through the door, I want to see my family. I love my family. You know, I'm a family man. I'm an advocate for families, right? Second thing, I got to get that hot shower because I got to throw the threads on. The threads make me feel like $1,000,000, but the third thing through my mind and all throughout the trip is that I gotta have that Tej pack. Tej makes my life uncomplicated. It's uncomplicated skincare for men. The first way that I started specifically was their level 1 system. It's a daily face wash to get rid of the dirt and grime on your skin. 2 times per week exfoliating scrub to get rid of the dead skin cells. An AM moisturizer with SPF 20 because you should always be protecting your skin from the sun. And a PM moisturizer to help your skin stay hydrated and healthy throughout the night. Here's the thing. My favorite part about Tej Henley is that every box comes with an instruction card that tells you when to use each product, how much to use, and in what order. They really making the process of achieving and maintaining amazing skin for men uncomplicated. In addition to amazing skin, members of Tej Henley get tons of benefits, including at least 20% off the retail price, the ability to customize your box, exclusive monthly deals, you can pause and cancel at any time, and you get free shipping. And because Tej Henley is sponsoring today's video, they're offering my viewers an amazing deal, right? Just click the first link in the description and you get 30% off your first box, plus a free gift. It's an amazing deal. You got to get started today. You're not out here trying to look like a dusty. And if you travel as much as I do, which I'm sure most people don't, but you know me, I'm pushing my bag chasers in order to be in the top 5%, top 10%, top 1%. We got to make our lives uncomplicated, and Tej Henley is no better product. You got to look good. You got to smell good. And you can't be looking like a dusty. Make sure you get started today. Click the link in the description. Get that Tej pack. Feel the Tej, my friends. What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. As you can see, I am here in my hotel room still. It is actually really early in the morning, but it is Tuesday, September 6, 2022. And you know I don't miss. I always got to give you guys, your daily dose of positive energy and good words so that you can have something to carry you throughout your day, instead of it always being something negative, it always being something that's not conducive for your life. I don't want you to wake up, the drama and negativity. I want you to wake up to an opportunity to be the best version of yourself. And so shout out to the sponsor, Tej Henley, 30% off your first order plus a free gift. Make sure you click that link in the description to tap in and get your Tej pack. All right, so get that in the description. But more importantly, shout out to the bag chasers. I love my bag chasers. I appreciate it. I actually was walking down Hollywood Boulevard because I'm staying at the Roosevelt Hotel, the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel, and it's a really nice hotel. Awesome pool, great lobby, phenomenal restaurants, awesome food, and all of that. And I'll get to that in a minute because I want to detail exactly what my days are like really quickly, and I want to give you the Hollywood version of what it's like to live life like this, traveling back and forth, always on a plane. I'm actually going to shoot a show today, but I'm going to dive into that. But first, I want to make sure that I acknowledge my Patreon members, because I actually have a Patreon exclusive video coming Thursday. And then right after that, on Sunday, I have the exclusive video that I'm releasing in its entirety, unedited, with Brittany Renner. So make sure that y'all are subscribed to the Patreon, because I give all of the exclusive content just to my bag chasers, right? I make sure that they're taken care of. I make sure that they get everything first. And in addition to the build a business and the mastermind sessions and the exclusive content, we also have a meetup here in the Midwest. So make sure you tap into that. I'm going to also post an update for that today, in between all of my filming and shooting and stuff like that. But I'll give you a little bit of a insight and game on that. But again, make sure you tap into the Patreon. A link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. And if you need to kick it with me personally, email me at antondaniels413@gmail.com. And I'm going to get you scheduled for a Zoom call, a personal call, and make sure that you're taken care of. Okay, so let me start off this show today by saying that the majority, and when I say the majority, the overwhelming majority of my life is not glamorous at all. And when I say not glamorous, yeah, you see the watch, for example, and I'm always in a different hotel room and I travel a lot and things like that. But most of my trips are turnaround flights. And I'm actually just now getting back to a sense of normalcy in that my normal is usually traveling alone. Like what we've experienced probably over the last year and a half or so, with Rita being with me and a lot of these different instances and things like that, is a little bit abnormal simply because, um, she's a mother. And, my daughter has, been growing and she's in high school now and things like that. So my daughter doesn't require a lot of maintenance. She does require oversight. She does require a strong hand as far as her father and her mother in her life. But throughout the pandemic, before that, and things like that, and the fact that, I've worked in corporate America and things like that, my normal has always been go, right? My family is obviously a priority, and I'm not waiting on anybody to give me my accolades as far as a father because I know I'm a phenomenal father. I'm a great husband, and I'm an exceptional businessman and steward of the people that surrounding me, including my bag chasers. And that's one of the reasons why I love them so much is because, I pour so much into the bag chasers. I'm looking out the window right now, and I'm looking at Hollywood Boulevard as the sun is rising. My bag chasers, I pour so much into them, but my life is largely not glamorous, and most of the people, unless you're some kind of rapper or entertainer, and even those that are doing it well, their lives that I know are not glamorous. And I'm gonna break it down to you. So, for example, me traveling here yesterday, I adjusted for my time zone, but I knew that I had to not only the day before I traveled, I was working really hard just to make sure that everything was taken care of from corporate America. I had some calls with overseas developers and overseas contractors because they're on a completely different time zone. And again, this is on the weekend. And so we're detailing the events leading up to me flying here in LA. Now, I knew that I had to fly here to LA to take care of some business because I had been working with the producers of what it is that I'm shooting prior to, right? They had reached out to me, so on and so forth. But this is just a snapshot, a little bit of a snapshot of what my life is like, right? So I'm very, very proactive because I don't just cancel things, as you can see, because you're watching this video right now. I don't just cancel things. I don't just walk away. And I don't just make people adjust to the ebbs and the flows of what my life is. I'm very, very focused on making sure that I'm still adding value. I'm still taking care of business. I'm still on top of things. Nothing is off schedule. Nothing is messed up. So, I miss, and this is probably the best time of my day, I miss live streaming. So for 2 days straight, I knew that because I had flights at certain times, and then on Tuesday I was going to be, which is today, I'm filming throughout the day. I knew that I had to be proactive. And so I'm preparing and I'm getting things set up. I don't miss on what's happening with Lapeef Let's Talk. I don't miss on when it happens to Jay Prince, live streaming, but I largely miss a lot of sleep and I don't get to participate in the things that I've actually been able to accumulate as far as my cars and my lifestyle and things like that. So I'm proactively taking care of things. I'm pre-recording stuff. I'm making sure that I take you along the journey as far as the vlogs. I always got my camera with me right here, right? I buy things to make it easier and more convenient for me to be able to give you the content that you need in order to be successful. And then, right, so I fly here. I got to make sure everything is scheduled and taken care of. I'm also taking care of home. I'm also taking care of business. Corporate America is still popping. I'm on call for that. I'm still doing coaching sessions. I'm still on calls with Corporate America. I'm still on call with corporate clients and things like that. And so that's happening all at the same time. I'm running two phones back to back all at the same time, right? I got AirPods in me. I got the girl next to me on the plane having a conversation. Y'all like, what up? And so, you land here. As soon as I land, I'm trying to still operate on East Coast time, so I'm still messed up. Still got the Q&A show last night. That went awesome, and shout out to my girl Q holding it down, making sure that she does a great job also. As soon as I land, tapped into emails. I got my other computer right there. And, I do 2 or 3 coaching calls. I head right out to Hollywood Boulevard just to get a break. I literally take 45 minutes. I have a 45-minute window to go downstairs, take a break, and then I bust out the camera just to take y'all along the journey with me. But I tap in for that 45-minute window just to take a break. In the meantime, I got my daughter calling me. I got my wife calling me. I got an assistant calling me. I got different people tapping in with me. It's some stuff happening on some other content creation that I don't want to fill y'all in on because I don't talk about, every single aspect of business because it's not necessary. And this is my life, right? I'm out here. I'm in LA. Weather is scorching hot. Things is happening. Is stuff happening around me. I heard it was an event over there, the pool, and all of the stuff. Immediately, I go straight to the gym right after I get back, jump in a shower, make sure I'm shaved, do Q&A, right? I'm back up at 2 o'clock LA time. And so my body is already adjusted. I'm already adjusted to what's happening out here because you got the light and things like that. But I'm still trying to maintain some sense of normalcy by operating on East Coast time. So I'm up at 2 a.m. and I'm actually getting up. I actually got up a half hour earlier than I normally would because I get up at 5:30 in Michigan. But I got up at 2 a.m. because I knew that I had to get certain stuff scheduled. I had to make sure that I took care of business with regard to this. I got a mobile barber coming to take care of my beard so I could look fresh for the live taping. And then here, let me break down. I guess I could break down. I'll break it down in a minute, or I'll do it in another video. But I got call coming up at 7:30 this time. So literally in an hour and 15 minutes, I got a call coming up because I have to get ready because it's gonna be a car to pick me up at 8:45, and then I got to go and film, and then I'm gonna be filming for the next 5 hours, 5 6 hours, and then it's a lot of things, and it's a Tetris. It's literally playing Tetris in real life with all of this stuff, and then not only that, I still got stuff that I got to take care of. In the afternoon after I get back to my hotel. I may have an hour and a half tops. And that's just with me clearing my whole schedule. I may have an hour and a half tops to myself, which I'll then allocate an hour to the gym, another half hour just to chill. I might scroll up on social media and see what the vibes are. Talk to, my daughter or something like that because she had to go to school. And then I'm back on my way to the airport, got a car to pick me up, catching a red eye at 10 p.m. this time, which is 1 a.m. my time Eastern, and then I'll be back in Michigan at 5 a.m. And then I got corporate America in the morning, and then we do it all over again, and then we do the live stream. Right? I don't have time to play games. I don't have time, to be messing with these hoes. I don't have time to even drive my car and enjoy the things that I already have. So, I guess for me, I'm always curious and I'm trying to figure out because I want to take over the world. I mean, I know that, listen, y'all believe in work-life balance and everything like that. I can do that on the weekend. And then this weekend, I got, other people flying in because we creating content together and, all of that type of stuff. But I'm literally trying to take over the world. And so when you see the glitz and the glam and you see the watches and the Benz and the Porsche and the Tesla and the flying in the first class, that's to make my life more convenient so that when I decide that I actually want to go out or I decide that I want to go to a game, I'm going to sit first fucking row because I work my ass off. And if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it to the highest level. I'm going to enjoy it at the highest level because not only can I afford it, not only have I been faithful as far as stand down for an extended period of time so that my assets can then pay for my lifestyle, but because I don't have a lot of time allocated to leisure and almost every single thing that I do is business, then I have to make sure that, or I'm looking to have the greatest experience when it happens. So, you may see the snapshots of these people's lives on Instagram. You may see a snapshot of some people's lives and you say, oh man, they got the Maybach over there or they flying private. They don't have fucking time to be going through airport security and stuff like that. I got time to go through airport security because I don't have $500 million to yet justify the cost of having a private jet. Oh, I'm gonna get there one day. But see, my life, and I'm being real with you, my life or my objective in life is to absolutely positively dominate and destroy anything. And even with, let's be real, because you know me, I love to just talk real and I love to just keep it 100. Even when it came to fitness, and I'm literally rededicating, I promise you by the end of this year, you are going to see a different me. I'm not fucking around anymore because I've now carved time out and I want to live for the next 50 years so that I can enjoy everything that I've built. And so when I go all in on something, I'm all in. But even when it comes to fitness and lifestyle and things like that, this is a fucking business for me. This is something that I'm doing because it actually adds value to my life. And so when you see, these people living this lifestyle, and I'm talking about the people that's actually getting it. I'm not talking about the people that's borrowing somebody else's car and taking a picture in front of it and saying, yeah, check me out. I'm not doing that. I'm talking about the people that work hard. One of my inspirations and one of the people that I really look up to as far as work ethic is concerned is Steve Harvey and Kevin Hart. I believe that they are the greatest and they are the GOATs, not because they are the most talented at what they do, but because they truly have a vision and they're dedicated to what it is that they're trying to accomplish and their craft and, building. And I don't think that anybody can stop you when you decide to hit that fifth gear, that sixth gear, and you start to really, really drive and you're consistent in that drive and you've reprogrammed yourself to be dedicated in that way. And again, I'm not saying that everybody got it or everybody can do it because I already know that there's very few people that can actually do what I do as far as having that drive and that consistency towards being successful. I'm not the smartest person in the world. I'm not the greatest person in the world or whatever like that. But the one thing that nobody, and there is nobody that has ever in my lifetime called me lazy. You can't do it because it's not even something that you can fathom. Nobody can, even my harshest critic says, you know what, but that dude do work his ass off. They got to give me that. And there's nothing you can do as far as stopping me in that way. So I'm going to continue to drive. I want something that very few people in this lifetime has ever achieved. And I have my own goals and the things that I'm trying to accomplish for. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just continue to push. I'm going to continue to drive. If I have to get up at 2 in the morning or 1 in the morning or go to bed earlier, it's a non-glamorous lifestyle for the most part. 98, 99% of my lifestyle is non-glamorous. So when you see me shopping or you see me driving or you see me, doing certain things, I'm doing it out of the convenience of working hard and believing that it's necessary for me to get that in order for me to continue to incentivize myself to drive forward because I have bigger goals. And at some point, I'm sure that I'll slow down or maybe I'll work for the rest of my life. I have no problem with that because I love what I do. But the fact that I have the option to slow down is all I need. And everything else, I'm going to just continue to drive. So that's my mindset. That's my life. That's the way that I look at things. And that's how I'm going to continue to drive. So again, make sure you hit a like for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe to the channel. I realized that I had some audio issues, so I edited that video in the YouTube studio to take out the parts that is not necessary. But I want to have a conversation today. And again, make sure you subscribe to the Patreon because I live what I preach. I'm a servant leader, and I think that it's important for you to align yourself with a group of people that actually can drive you forward and be successful. You may not be able to go 100% like I'm going, but if you can take 50, 40, 30% of what I'm doing and add it to your life and then it become, something greater for you, I think that's dope. I think that that's a blessing. All right. But I want to get into this conversation, and I actually did a video before, but I never really deep dove into it. Is it deep dive or deep dove? I never, dive as far as I wanted to go into it because somebody sent me a video. And this is a new thing. I mean, it's hitting, it's catching like wildfire. And I want to talk about quiet quitting. If you are not familiar with what quiet quitting is, there's a couple different versions of it. But in a sense, it's that you no longer are, and I think that this is relevant to what it is that I just said, which I didn't even plan to say when I, break down my life. But it's basically an extreme version of work-life balance, but not really taking your job too serious. All right, so I'm going to share this video from CNBC, and then I want to have a conversation about quiet quitting, and then we can go from there, because I also have another video from a woman from Grand Rapids that I've been looking to review for quite some time that apparently makes $185,000 a year, and I want to break down her budget. But yeah, let's get into this whole quiet quitting thing, and then we can have a conversation.
This is one example of quiet quitting, a trend that has been dominating social media and especially TikTok. In July, Zaid Khan, a 24-year-old engineer from New York, posted a video about quiet quitting, and it went viral. Since then, the trend has spread like wildfire, with hashtags like quiet quitting, quitting, and quieting.
Does anybody want to work anymore?
Then the mainstream media began covering it.
Like working overtime? No thanks. Late night emails? Ignore those.
Quiet quitting is a really bad idea. If you're a quiet quitter, you're not working for me.
The world is changing and the way of work is changing. Even people saying, I'm not going back to the office. And if I do, I'm definitely quiet quitting until I find a job that is a lot more flexible.
COVID was
The thing about quiet quitting for me is it's a non-starter, it's a non-option, and I'm not sure if I just come from a different background or a different environment in which I don't believe that that's a thing or that's something that I would ever be able to embrace. But the idea of it, even the thought of not adding more value than I take away from a particular employer. And I know we have this culture where, corporate America is the devil and eat the rich and, this mindset to where you take as much as you can from people in an environment. And the problem with that for me is that I don't believe that it stops just with corporate America. I think that it extends itself beyond that, and it actually starts to be a part of the culture as far as how it is that we deal with people. I think that people are looking to take as much as they can from other people and take shortcuts. And then I believe, maybe it's just because I'm a business owner, maybe it's because I've employed people, maybe it's because I have contractors. I just believe in you adding as much value as possible, because I remember practically going broke in 2008. I mean, people would have done anything for a job. People were willing to be, that guy, that the Liberty Tax guy, or the person that be dressing up in the costume. I remember it was this place called, I think it was called Barry's Flowers. And people were literally competing to be the person that put on the bee suit. It was like a bee suit that the guy would wear, and he would be dancing on the side of the road in order to try to get you going there to buy some flowers. And people were competing to get inside of the bee suit so that they can provide for their families, because it was no jobs available. That's what it was. Small businesses were suffering, people were suffering, and it's just so crazy how in a short amount of time that has completely changed from people being thankful to even being in the door to where now it's this culture to where it's like, what have you done for me lately, corporate? I'm going to take advantage of what's going on in the marketplace.
ultimate reset. COVID was that moment where people started to ask a bigger question. What do I want for my life? Do I want to continue working the way that I have? Or do I want something different? Do I want to continue to work, which is awesome, but do I also want to be able to enjoy my family? Do I also want to be able to enjoy my life? So I think all of these things are coming in stages, and I think quiet quitting is just the trend that's come as a result of the ultimate reset, which is COVID.
Something like 40% of workers are now saying they plan to change jobs this year.
The pandemic also triggered the Great Resignation.
Trying to retain people, but they're really running scared.
Millions of Americans quit their jobs in 2021, some for better opportunities, some for a career break. The pace of quitting continued well into 2022. This chart tracks job openings and labor turnover in the U.S. economy, JOLTS for short.
We do think that quiet quitting is part of the Great Resignation story. So it fits into the general story of having a high level of quits over the past year and a half, and certainly a very tight labor market. And in that type of a labor market, it makes a lot of sense that workers may not be willing to work as hard as they have in the past because it's very easy to get alternative employment.
You know, the thing about it for me is that I don't care what the market is like. I understand that you need to, and I preach this myself. I talk about it in the Patreon. I talk about it with the bag chasers. I talk about it with you guys to a larger extent. And I believe that nobody will ever pay you more than the company that's willing to hire you away from the company that you at. And so I believe in jumping from company to company, depending on what your current circumstances are, in addition to leveling up in the company that you at, right? But at the same time, like even for me, I don't believe in leaving a company or jumping from a different company to another company unless it's just a crazy bag. I usually stay at a place, or I'm looking to stay at a place when I'm in corporate America for at least 3 years, and then I'll start to get that itch because I don't like the gaps inside of the resume. I don't like, because it shows instability. It shows, you know, that you're not willing to finish projects. You're not willing to do the things that it takes in order to be successful. Now, again, I'm not telling you that you shouldn't get your bag, but I just think that there's a decorum and a cadence and a way that you are supposed to do things, right? I know that there's no loyalty because some people will jump in the comments and they'll say, well, they'll lay you off if the job goes bad. Fair enough. So I need to put myself in a position to be able to vet the company effectively, determine how it is that I, you know, whether or not this company is going to be in business. What is my position? What is my standing in it? But I'm still going to add as much value. I'm going to try to add more value because I think that people remember, and there's certain managers and certain ways in which you go about doing things in which people remember, and you'll always have opportunities at your doorstep and people begging you to come to their companies if you go about doing things the right way. But honestly, I just think that people are lazy if you just want to break it down.
So the question is, what is quiet quitting? Quiet quitting is referring to a situation where employees are making a choice to not necessarily go above and beyond what they're being asked to do. It doesn't mean that they're not doing their job, they're just not going above and beyond.
Back in my day, it was called coasting.
For me, my last time quiet quitting was 5 years ago. I used to be in tech sales. What I did was work less. I wasn't putting in the 40 hours anymore. I wasn't giving in to the drama anymore. I wasn't giving into work gossip anymore. I wasn't answering emails or texts or Slack messages, DMs after the work day. So weekends were free. They were mine.
Even though it's millennials and Gen Zers who are actively talking about it on social media, quiet quitting has been happening amongst Gen Xers, which I'm part of the Gen Xers, for the better part of 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, because you guys are the ones that messed up what things are today. I've been going off on boomers and Gen Xers for a while now, for a hot minute now, but it's not a new thing, and it's not something that we just attach to these young people, because you know how older people are. They tend to have a revisionist mindset or revisionist history in which they start to act like they was better than the current generation, and they wasn't. But what I'm looking at basically is saying that you're lazy. You're lazy because if the job market was tight like it was back in 2007, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, you be hustling, you be grinding. And I do understand work-life balance. I'm not saying that people shouldn't have work-life balance. I don't have work-life balance because I don't know what that is. That's just not in me. That's just a part of me. Maybe it's something that I need to work on and change. I'm not sure that I can ever change. I might be stuck in my ways in that way. But in a sense, it's an excuse for people, for her to say, listen, I understand she says that, after work hours, whatever, so on and so forth. But then at the same time, she said, I wouldn't even put in my 40 hours. What? So me as a small business owner, I can pay you for 40 and I pay you well to a contract that you agree to, but you don't abide by what it is that I'm setting the standard for within that company culture? Okay.
The anti-work movement is not a new trend. In 2021, the lying flat or Tangping movement took off in China. Many viewed it as an anti-work phenomenon. This is a labor protest movement in China against the country's relentless work culture. Some argue that quiet quitting is similar to the lying flat movement. In the US, quiet quitting could also be a backlash to hustle culture, the 24/7 startup grind popularized by figures like Gary Vee and others.
I think it is almost direct resistance and disruption of hustle culture, honestly. And I think it's exciting that more people are doing it.
When it comes to hustle culture and quiet quitting, we're seeing from Gen Zers especially that they're really focused on ensuring that they have that work-life balance.
You know what the funny thing about it though? Is Gary Vee work his ass off though. Gary Vee, and listen, I actually like Gary Vee. I like what he does, but Gary Vee did not become successful because he was lazy. Gary Vee, you know, he preaches being nice to each other and being in the moment and all of this other type of stuff. And yo, you got time. But he don't preach being lazy unless I'm missing something, because Gary Vee himself works his ass off. If you look at Gary Vee's output and what he does and, you know, where he's at and how many conferences he's going to and the companies that he's building and all of this type of stuff, he works his ass off. I've read his books. I have both of them. Both of them. At the crib, I've read both books. Gary Vee hustles. Gary Vee grinds. And it's just ironic that people would have this mindset, because I just don't believe in being lazy. I believe that whatever you do it to the best of your ability. You can have work-life balance, but then people are all the way on the other end of the spectrum, because then they'll say, well, why ain't the government handing out us these handouts and the STEMIs and all of this other type of stuff? But then I remember during the pandemic, motherfuckers wasn't even trying to go back to work. They was more content with making that little $600 in unemployment insurance, depending on whatever state that you live in, and living a substandard lifestyle. But then at the same time, will sit there and justify to me how $40,000 and $45,000 per year per person is enough to be able to sustain you, even though they know they're running in the Victim Olympics. They got these student loans. They got all of these different things that they need to pay for. But then they saying that I'm going to put that on the back burner and then begging government Biden in order for a handout. You got to make it make sense. Either it's going to be one way or the other. Either you're going to be totally responsible for your situation while you're chilling, or you're going to go out there and you're going to get it and you're going to grind. And I don't understand how people have this mindset of just being regular and normal based off of what normalcy has been defined by society. Yo, we can have a bunch of debt. We can have a bunch of things that we don't necessarily need. We can go out here. We can shop. And this is why you have so many people taking shortcuts. This is why a lot of people going to jail for PPP loans. It's a shortcut style mentality, day trading, meme stocks. All of this stuff is feeding into this culture and this narrative in which we're not willing to do what it takes in order to be successful.
And really mission-driven purpose when it comes to work. And we see this across millennials as well.
People are being more honest about the fact that they just don't want to give beyond the 40 hours of work that they normally would give because they're tired.
There has been a tsunami.
Tired sitting at a desk. That dude was sitting at a desk, burning the midnight oil, I guess. Yo, the people from yesteryear, they was busting it open in steel mills and on the plant floors. And they actually had to have physical jobs. And these people lived till they was like 80 and 90 and all of this other type of stuff. They was mail carriers and postal workers, and they were construction workers, and they was, you know what I'm saying, building the infrastructure and all of this, the other type of stuff. And people are sitting at their desk talking about,
Of job resignations.
In 2021, the Great Resignation dominated the economic news cycle.
Want or need to remain in their roles. So
in the second quarter of the same year, U.S. productivity data posted its biggest ever annual drop. And some economists blame workers leaving jobs or not trying hard at their current jobs for the hit to productivity.
That's exactly how they be in the office.
The reason for the slowing in labor productivity, it's hard to tell from aggregate data exactly why labor productivity has slowed so much over the course of the pandemic, but it is certainly one of the reasons that you would expect to be weighing on labor productivity right now.
Employee engagement also appears to be declining. A recent poll from Gallup showed employee engagement in the US dropping for the first annual decline in a decade, dipping from 36% engaged employees in 2020 to 34% in 2021.
Disengagement, not being engaged, that's affecting the productivity. Mentally, they're just not there, and they really aren't giving it their all anymore. And they are just trying to stay under the radar, and they are disengaged. That's very much going to impact productivity.
I do think quiet quitting is a part of the Great Resignation. People are so burnt out. We've just gone through and are still going through a pandemic.
How you going to be burnt out sitting in a comfy chair inside of a cubicle? I guess I'm just old school. I'm a throwback type of dude.
We are recognizing that life can be so fleeting and so short, and we want to spend it doing something we love. And that doesn't mean work has to be our dream job. I think that myth of the dream job is slowly or rapidly dying.
I thought that a job was a means, or you actually trading in a service or time for money. Shout out to Hollywood Boulevard and the ambulance riding down the street or the fire truck. I thought that it was a means to an end. I thought that your goal was to be productive while you're on a job, and then when you go home, you can do what you want to do. When did it become the employer's responsibility in order for you to actually do what you're supposed to do? This is insane to me. Am I that off? Am I that throwback? Am I that caught up in my ways in an old way? And maybe again, it's because earlier in my life, I actually worked in a steel mill. I was working 16 hours a day, 7 days a week in order to get that $118,000 a year. And I've always wanted to be just more successful and beat the next person. When did we become or devolve so much into being socialists? Isn't this what capitalism is? And then people will complain that the people that work their ass off should pay the most taxes. Why should I overwork just to pay more taxes to give money to you?
People that shut down their laptop at 5 want that balance in life, want to go to the soccer game, 9 to 5 only. They don't work for me. I can tell you that.
Facts. Labor demand remains red hot in 2022. That's despite the looming risk of a recession. An economic downturn could make quiet quitting a short-lived trend.
Well, if the labor market were to turn, you'd imagine that quiet quitting would become less of a phenomenon. Well, the risk if you're a quiet quitter is that the economy would slow and you could find yourself in a situation where you're in a job where you haven't been given the most effort that you can, and it puts you at a disadvantage in terms of moving forward at that job. If others have been giving more effort, they're more likely to have greater job security than otherwise. So certainly as the labor market slows, and if we were to go into a recession, could potentially put those workers at a disadvantage.
You know what the funny part about that is that then you'll get people getting pissed. I was there longer than her. Why am I getting laid off? Well, they're looking at your productivity. They're looking at whether or not you participate. And they're looking at whether or not you actually coming into the office, whether you engaged, if you actually are just sleepwalking through the meetings, and if you always being late to every single Zoom meeting, even though you're working from home. You don't know it until it's at your doorstep. You don't know that it's coming and it's about to hit you like a bag of bricks inside of your face until it's at your doorstep. And then it's everybody else's fault. But the whole time it's never your fault. It's always everybody else's fault as to whether or not you are being fairly compensated, whether or not you're being taken care of, whether or not you're being laid off. And it's funny because every sign that I see is pointing to, more layoffs. I was reading about T-Mobile. I was reading about AT&T. I was reading about, obviously, Bed Bath & Beyond. And there's so many different companies that's starting to trim workers. And then all they're doing is relying more on technology in order to do processes that used to be done by human beings. Even if you call into a service center now, you got to go through so many hoops. How do I know? Because I'm one of the people that's actually making sure that this happens. But you got to go through so many hoops even to talk to a real person. And even when you talk to a real person, you got somebody that's trying to train their accent to be more American because they're not even here in the United States of America.
In addition to talking to thousands of employees per year, I talk to thousands of leaders per year, all the way from your supervisor all the way up to your C-suite CEOs. And I will tell you that they are bothered by this trend because it speaks one of two things. One, we have employees who are doing their job, but they're not going above and beyond. Two, what have we done as an organization to these employees to make them feel like they can't give their best effort?
That's why Apple is saying, F you, come on back into this office. F you, come on back into this office because y'all over there chilling. Y'all buying the mouse moving things to where it moves every so often to make sure that it seems like you're being more productive. Scheming, scamming, you will invest in a scam before you actually just do your job.
We're evolving as a culture. We're evolving as a people, and the workplace is evolving, and we need to be okay with it because it's the same concept for me as...
This is why you don't let women run what it is that you got going on. And you need to be okay with that. No, you need to pick it up and do what it is that I'm paying you to do. We pay for your lunch. We pay for your gym. We pay for your dry cleaning. We make sure that you're taken care of. Your check ain't never been late, but you late every single day to the job. Your direct deposit go through every other Friday, every other Thursday. Some of y'all is getting, some of these apps where you can get it 3 and 4 days early. Your check go through immediately. But for some reason, we always find ourselves in a space to where we getting the bad end of the stick as the employers.
People saying just because I didn't have it means you shouldn't have it too. You should have to work hard.
Just want to be careful about just saying that quiet quitting is the Gen Zs and the Gen Ys. I think that it can be happening all over the place. And the more we stay engaged and connected and share our purpose, the less of an issue disengagement will be. And then hopefully the quiet quitting term will start fading to the background, and we'll see both employees being productive and well engaged and employers being very successful.
I don't believe that it's ever going to change until you get into a real recession. That's when you start to see change. That's when you start to see evolution. That's when you start to see people pivot, and then they learn to appreciate things, which is why the term weak times make strong men and strong men make weak times. It's because it's during that time that you actually learn a lesson to where you need to pivot, and you start to do things a little bit more conducive for what your future is going to be. And then we not sitting here having a conversation about why the majority of Americans only have $65,000 inside of their retirement account. Or they only got up to $65,000 saved, and then they being forced to retire. Because let's be clear, you can look up the data right now. The majority of the people that are re-entering the workforce are over 70 years old. And I don't want to be required to go and be a greeter at Costco and Walmart in order for me to be able to survive long enough to die naturally. That's for the birds. That's for the birds. I want to go into this video because apparently it's a woman that's making $158, $185, something like that, $1,000 a year in Grand Rapids. And I have not seen the video, but I'm a fan of people from Michigan. And this flies in the face, apparently, because if you're making that type of money, you got to be grinding and hustling. This flies in the face of the quiet quitting culture. So let's just get straight into this video.
I had a business mentor who would always say, once you find the thing that you'll do for free, then that's the thing that you're going to end up doing for a lifetime. And I feel like me helping others with their business, like I feel so fulfilled doing it. My grandma stepped in to play a big part in our lives, and also just noticing that in our community, we didn't see a lot of households that had mom and dad figures. Even filling that void, like it really wasn't there because a lot of people just had their moms. I grew up in income-based housing, and my mom was one of those parents who she made sure that her kids were, I would say, dressed the best. Like when we went to school, we had the latest shoes, the latest clothes. My mom pretty much didn't have a lot of time to cook because she was always so busy with working. So
this is crazy.
We would eat a lot of fast food. It was a lot of McDonald's, a lot of Burger Kings, a lot of going to different restaurants, just so she can have enough time to spend time with us, and then we'll bond on having our meals together. I didn't start learning about money until I joined the Army.
You know what's so funny? I was talking to Charleston White, and Charleston White said, you know what, Anton? A lot of these dudes need to go through something, and they need to join the military because that's going to get them together. We're not going to have no more problems in society when these young dudes that's, 15, 16, 17 years old join the military and they start doing things differently?
I was attending Grand Valley State University, where I got an internship at the local high school to be a security guard. And while I was there, the recruiters would come in and talk to the high school students. And I stopped in to talk to them one day, and I liked the sound of the benefits that they were talking about. So I had ended up signing up and joined right after college. And while I was in the Army, that's when I had my first personal finance course, where they told us about what we should do with our money as far as investing, as far as making sure we're saving our money, and also making sure we're not lending our money out to our family members. Once I returned from Army training, I started going to different military job fairs. And at that time, the state of Michigan was there setting up, letting us know what different career paths we can take with our degrees. And I chose to go the child welfare route.
The interesting thing about that is that when I was growing up, one of the things that was emphasized to us and society at large was just that never join the military, never join the Army. That's a white man's thing. Never join the military, never join the Army. That's a white man's thing. Now on social media and on YouTube and all of these panels and the different people that I coach, it's so many benefits as far as not only the discipline and the structure that comes with being in that environment, but all of the benefits financially and opportunities and schooling and everything. I know so many guys that tapped in with me and said, Anton, I'm a different person than I was, when I first was joining the Army. Before I joined the Army, I was a knucklehead. I was moving in the wrong direction. I didn't know what I was doing. And this has afforded me so many opportunities as far as housing and real estate investment and TSPs and paying for my schooling and all of this type of stuff. So it's funny how the things that we embrace most in these talking points of the culture when I was growing up was actually the thing that probably wasn't best for us.
I currently rent a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment for $1,340 in the Kentwood area, which is pretty much 5 minutes outside of Grand Rapids. And I love the Kentwood area because it's close to everything. I have a grocery store.
Let me break this down. Phone, 75. Subscriptions, 83. Utilities, 140. All regular. Gas seems a little high. Oh, gas in her car. All right. So I'm assuming that there's gas in her car. Insurance, $295. Food, $900. $900 in food just for you? Please tell me that she got a kid in there that she's paying for also, or a man that she's taking care of. $900 in food? Her food bill is almost as much as her rent bill, which is $1,040. Okay, all right. This budget is fucked up. All right, $900 in food, and then if you go over to the yellow, $1,700 in discretionary. All right, at least she's putting $1,500 a month up for savings and investments. And I'm trying to figure out what is her savings and investments. Let me see. That's her 401k. So she put up $1,500 a month in her 401k. Good job. She probably can up that because that's the equivalent. Well, it's the equivalent of about $18,000 a year. So that's not bad. So at least she's doing that. But $1,700 in discretionary and $900 in food, that's literally $2,600 in trash, man.
Within 5 minutes. The mall is also within 5 minutes. And then there's a lot of restaurants and food places around. I currently drive a 2011 Mercedes-Benz E-Class, and I purchased that car in 2015. And the unique story behind why I got that car is because I had a side hustle where I was baking cakes. I had raised $13,000.
She a hustler. This chick is a hustler, and apparently she paid off her car, so that's actually a good thing. So the only thing she have to spend on is insurance. I guess it's not that bad for her to have that level of discretionary, spending her money on discretionary stuff, simply because she don't have any kind of debt that she's working on or credit cards or issues like that.
$1,000 in a span of 3 months. So I put that as a down payment on my car, and I was able to pay my car off early last year.
On a 2011, and she just was able to pay it off last year, and this video is not even a year old? Shh. Man, 2011? And you paid it off in 2021? That sounds a little bit egregious.
roughly $900 per month on food, which includes a lot of dining out, and a lot of that time is social time with friends, grabbing drinks.
$150 on groceries, $750 on going out. So she like to hit the streets and go out and eat good and spend good and have a good time. Hopefully she tipping. Shout out to my Nigerians.
I like to collect Louis Vuitton bags, and I like their classic handbags. And one of the reasons I like Louis Vuitton in particular is because once you buy a bag, you can keep it for years down the line. And once it's time to sell, they also keep a good resale value.
That's smart.
So when I joined the Army, one of the benefits that I was looking forward to was the student loan repayment program. But once I joined, especially with the state of Michigan, they were behind on making the student loan payments. So I have been out of the Army for 2 years now, and I still have around $44,000 left. And they've been making payments of roughly $7,000 per year. But one of the things that the state of Michigan also offers is the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program. So I'm currently enrolled in both programs.
Because she works for the state. She doesn't work for a private company, so she works for the state. So she probably has an income-based repayment program in which her loans will be forgiven after a certain amount of time.
Been with the state of Michigan for 6 years.
4 more
and
years.
By year 10, I should be able to have my student loans erased.
Yep.
Hey, I'm Destiny. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. And if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Back in November of 2019, I took a trip to China. And while I was in China, I started noticing like all the different wholesale items that I can get at a good price and resell. And I started documenting that journey on Instagram. And once I started putting it on my Instagram, a lot of people started asking me how could they get started running their own businesses, where they can find different products. And that's when I started talking about it on YouTube.
So she took advantage of what it is that I talked about as far as this generation having the greatest opportunity ever, as far as being able to get the things and the opportunities for you to be able to do what you want to do. And she making money off of it, basically. She went over to China. She found her a wholesaler. She imports the products here, and then she sell it for a markup retail.
Started showing different people like, hey, you can get this product for this price, and then also started walking them through the process of creating a business plan, building their business credit, and pretty much going along the lines of that and building based on what my audience wanted. I've been doing this, it's been almost a year now, and I just got these lights within the past month. And I think I got these ones within the past 3 months. And this was my original setup. I started off with my iPhone, and then I just got the Canon G7X within the past 5 months. Being an entrepreneur is important to me because
I still record on my iPhone today. It
allows me to live the life that I really want to live. Because as far as with working a 9-to-5, it really restricts your income. With being an entrepreneur, you'll make as much money as just as hard as you work.
Shout out to that extra $1,000 a month that she got in YouTube channel revenue last year.
So I save around $1,000 per month, and I currently have around $24,000 in my savings accounts, and I pretty much just save that for a rainy day. I've been saving for retirement for approximately 6 years now. So once I started with the state of Michigan, I started setting aside $500 per month, and I've been doing that for the past 6 years, which they also offer employer matching with my 401k plan.
So she puts up $500 into the 401k, and then she saves $1,000 a month in her personal savings. She probably can better use that money, and she probably should up the amount that she's contributing into her 401k, because it actually has tax benefits along with it, instead of just having cash sitting and becoming devalued inside of a savings account that she's not even making money on. But she uses some of her savings to travel. Then it's not savings. It's discretionary income and spending. Oh, God. Destiny, baby girl, you get into the bag, but you're fumbling it at the same time.
So So my personal brand is named after me, Destiny Adams, and then I have a tagline, which is the traveling hair boss, since I travel a lot and I'm in the salon industry. I advertise my t-shirt line through YouTube, and I also advertise it through my Facebook and Instagram, and a lot of people will see me in person wearing the shirts, and then they'll inquire on how to buy them.
So she recently transferred a salon lease to one of her stylists and is rebranding the hairline. I talk about this all the time. You got to know what your exit strategy is. Obviously, her time is becoming a lot more valuable. She's spending more time making more money doing other things. And so now she doesn't want to run the hair salon anymore, but she still wants to make sure that she sells hair, which is probably a lot more profitable and less time consuming and taxing as far as dealing with people on a regular basis than this whole hair salon thing. I knew it.
So I'm in the process of buying my first home. I'm going to use my VA loan, and I'm looking to buy a home in the Grand Rapids, Michigan area. 5 years from now, I can really see myself.
She can lead that Grand Rapids area.
Still making my YouTube videos, traveling more, really being a digital nomad if I can. So I do plan on growing my YouTube channel, which I hope to do YouTube full time one day. And then I can use that channel to also show my traveling experiences.
So, I mean, again, I think that she's cool. I think that she can do a lot better. I do see the pivot, and I do see why it is that she's doing what she's doing. But I also see that there's a lot of room for improvement. And if she had a man in her life that actually know what he was doing, he could actually take her to the next level a lot faster. But I do salute her because she is making $158,000 a year, even though she's only really saving the equivalent of $6,000, or she's only investing $6,000 as far as her 401k. I think she could do a lot better, and then she's using her savings to travel. That doesn't make sense. But anyways, I want to know what y'all thoughts are. I am about to get ready so that I can get up out of here. I have to go and film and take care of business. Thank you guys for continuing to rock with me and tune into the Millionaire Morning Show. Tomorrow we are back to normal. I will be shooting the show in the studio in Michigan, where we always do, with my Versace robe on. Having a good time, but I'm always going to have my Rolex on. I love you guys. I appreciate you. But yeah, I love you. I just think that, we continue to do great things. We're going to continue to run the check up. We're going to continue to run this bag up. If you are not a bag chaser, if you are not a part of what it is that we're doing, make sure you tap into the Patreon. The link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. It is light outside now. It was dark outside. Now it's light outside. And I wish I could show it to you. I guess I can show it to you what it looks like. Let me show you what it looks like out there. Let me unplug this. That's what it looks like out there. All right. So I love you guys. I appreciate you. Thank you for continuing to tap in, but I need you to do me one more favor before we get up out of here. Make sure you share this with your family and friends. We don't want to be rich by ourselves. I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you for continuing to rock with me. Charleston White clip dropping this afternoon on my other channel, and more exclusive content coming into Patreon. I'm going to holler at you guys later. Peace.